Those that are following the account, I'd like to formally introduce myself to you guys. My name is Tirado. A lot of you know me as Rad Tirado. A lot of you know me under my old Instagram handle, which was Next Level Fierce when I used to be a creative portrait photographer. And a lot of you also are following the account based on my realistic portraits that I draw, which I will do in the future. But what you guys should be aware of is that I'm not by now some young red pill YouTuber yelling at women. Okay? I'm not a therapist either, reading from a script. I'm a 52-year-old man, about to be 53, middle-aged man who's raised kids, managed to get myself back into shape due to my knowledge of training and dieting. I've managed to rebuild myself after my divorce and learned what women need to hear over the years and not what they want to hear. There's a big difference there. And if you've been struggling in the dating world, which I know you guys are, this might be the conversations that finally probably add a little bit of food for thought to you guys. Now, let me tell you why a man like me, if I were single, would overlook a lot of you. No matter how good your heart may be. You might be attractive, beautiful, you might have a great job, you might think you bring a lot to the table. But here's the thing, if you have multiple children by multiple men and carry yourself with masculine energy and argue like a man and haven't prioritized your health, which is super important, then the table is collapsing. And I'm not saying this to tear you down. I'm saying this because the guys you want aren't telling you the truth. They're either using you for sex and then ghosting you right after. Now, before you tune me out, let me clarify a few things here. I am in no stretch of the imagination trying to be like anybody else. I'm just being me. I'm not what social media calls a quote unquote high level man or high value man, whatever it is. I'm not flashy. I don't lead with money or status. I'm valuable because I've built discipline. Anybody that knows me personally will tell you that I'm a disciplined man. I've raised a family. I've survived divorce, like I said, and I've managed to keep myself in phenomenal shape. I've kept my edge, and I've lived a freaking real life. That's what makes me qualified to speak on a lot of the subjects and content that I react to online. I'm not a title, and I don't have a PhD. Because let's be honest, most of those doctors you follow online, they've studied relationships. I'll give them that. But I lived them. They've read about raising kids. I've actually raised very good children. I've got 2 in college. I've got 1 in junior high school who's phenomenal. I've got a 1-year-old. I've got 1 on the way. Who knows if I'm having more? These therapists can break down attachment theory, but I can break down what happens when you're 40 with 3 children and no man is taking you seriously anymore. Now, you might wonder, what makes me qualify to talk about this if I'm not a therapist or a doctor, right? Because I know a lot of you will come for me in the comments and say that. But here's the thing. I've spent 20 years in the New York City Police Department. And 14 of those years were in investigative units. I was a detective, and then ultimately I retired as a supervisor in a detective squad. I've dealt with people from every walk of life. Liars, victims, manipulators, murderers, truth tellers, you name it, I've seen it. I've I think I've seen just about everything that could possibly go wrong in the world. I've seen what people are like when the masks come off, when the pressure is on, the truth leaks out. That career right there sharpened my ability to be able to read people, to understand motives, to spot patterns. I've become a professional in human behavior long before social media turned it into some sort of niche, before this shit was cool. So no, I don't have a degree in psychology, but I've got something most psychologists don't have, and that's real experience with real consequences. And let's be real, let's keep it 100. If you want to attract a man and keep a man, who's better to teach you than a man? That's the question. Women give each other emotional support, and sometimes that's needed. I get that. But when it comes to understanding what a man actually responds to, don't you think you need a man's perspective? You see, a lot of female coaches will tell you to love yourself more, or just, he's intimidated. But that advice hasn't helped you get the man you want, has it? I'm not here to coddle you. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not here to tell you what actually, how would I say it? I'm here to tell you what actually works. From a man who knows what men want, because I'm a man. I understand. I'm not here to offer you any sort of feel-good advice. I'm not here for the vibe. I'm honestly here to help you win, to see you win. But with that being said, winning requires a hell of a lot of work. You're going to have to unlearn the habits that made you this quote unquote strong and independent, but left you lonely and bitter type of woman. Men like me, I would say mature, grounded, masculine men, we're not afraid of strong women. We're just uninterested in one who doesn't know when to stop competing. So if you're ready to hear the truth without excuses or ego, you're in the right place. I'll be here every Saturday giving you real talk, real food for thought from a man who actually lived what he speaks. So if you're interested, follow the account. Otherwise, you guys can keep doing your thing and keep wondering why nothing's changing in your life. I try my best to keep it 100 all the time, and we'll see what happens. So with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one, and I can't wait for next Saturday.